Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin.
Sunny Hostin, bold, outspoken, and a self-proclaimed champion of racial justice. On The View, she's never shied away from taking the moral high ground, calling out systemic oppression, white privilege, and, of course, the need for reparations. She's built her brand on pointing fingers and holding others accountable. But what happens when the spotlight turns on her?
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sunny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart.
Well, in It's So Ironic, it could be the plot of a sitcom. Sunny recently discovered something about her own family that left jaws dropping everywhere. Spoiler alert, it's not the story of struggle and oppression she probably expected. Ready for this one? Let's break it down.
Now The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter.
Sunny has spent years preaching about racial equity, unapologetically putting herself on a pedestal as a voice for justice. Whether advocating for reparations or calling out so-called oppressors.
Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin.
She's positioned herself as the moral authority on The View. Her fans call her fearless, her critics call her self-righteous. Either way, she's made sure everyone knows exactly where she stands. But for someone so invested in the sins of the past, you'd think she might have checked her own family tree first. Turns out there's a skeleton or two in there, and they're not exactly innocent.
She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry.
It all went down on PBS's Finding Your Roots.
Well, even though we can't trace Robert forward, we can trace Robert backwards in time.
Okay. Race, black, age 55, single, place of birth, Georgia, occupation, farmer, general farm. Robert W., son, race, black, age 15, place of birth, Georgia.
There's your great-grandfather Robert at just 15 years old in the household of his mother, your great-great-grandmother, Mandy Cummings. Have you ever heard of her?
Never. Wow.
Mandy, her proper name was Amanda, was born sometime between 1869 and 1871. And as you can see, Amanda is listed as single on that census.
1867. Dean Harris, who makes oath as follows. I, Dean Harris, do solemnly swear in the presence of Almighty God that I will faithfully support the Constitution. Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that...
The show's premise is simple. Dig into celebrity ancestry and uncover hidden truths. This should have been the perfect platform for Sunny to showcase her family's resilience. Yes, you heard that right. The advocate for reparations discovered her family directly benefited from the institution she'd spent years condemning. You could almost see the color drain from her face as she stammered out, I didn't think my family was, slaveholders. Awkward doesn't even begin to cover it. The moment Sunny's family history was revealed, the internet did what it does best. It erupted. Memes, tweets, and sarcastic commentary flooded every platform imaginable. One viral tweet read, Sunny Hostin discovering her ancestors were slave owners is the plot twist of the year. Another joked, reparations? Looks like Sunny's about to write that check to herself. The jokes practically wrote themselves. Social media wasn't the only place where people had thoughts. Critics and commentators jumped in, pointing out the irony of someone so vocal about condemning the actions of other people's ancestors, now grappling with her own family's troubling past. And then, of course, there was The View's favorite sparring partner, Greg Gutfeld. Never one to miss a golden opportunity, Gutfeld quipped,
Fact of life. Interesting change of tune. For more, we go to our chief Sunny Hostin correspondent for a reaction. Lou, is this karma or what?
Well, first, I just want to go on the record to let everyone know that I am very much against slavery. Very brave to say that on this panel. Karma, definitely. I mean, it's one thing. It's going to be so awkward on new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we...
Harsh? Maybe. Funny? Absolutely. But underneath the humor was a serious point, a question about hypocrisy. For someone who's made a career out of judging others for their ancestral histories, Sunny didn't seem too eager to reflect on her own, and that didn't sit well with a lot of people. Here's where things could have taken a different turn. Sunny had a chance, no, an opportunity to own this moment. Imagine if she had said, "Wow, this is eye-opening. It's made me rethink how I approach these discussions." It could have been a powerful statement, a chance to lead by example and show some real humility. Instead, she brushed it off as just a fact of life. A fact of life? Really? For someone who spent years demanding accountability from others, that response felt a little too casual. This wasn't just about her ancestors owning slaves, it was about the bigger picture: activism, accountability, and practicing what you preach. Sunny's quick pivot to downplaying the revelation left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. If she's so adamant about holding others responsible for their historical connections to oppression, shouldn't she hold herself to the same standard? Instead, she seemed more interested in sweeping it under the rug and moving on, which only made the situation worse. Sunny's revelation isn't just a personal scandal. It's a lesson about the pitfalls of self-righteousness. When someone spends so much time pointing fingers, they set themselves up for a major stumble if their own story doesn't align. The situation raises some uncomfortable questions. Should someone who routinely condemns others for their ancestral history be held to the same standard? Or is it enough to simply acknowledge the past without letting it define you? This isn't just about Sunny, though. It's about a broader issue, how activism can sometimes veer into hypocrisy when it's not grounded in self-awareness. Her critics argue that her moral high ground looks a little shaky now. And they're not entirely wrong. The revelation adds fuel to a larger debate about accountability, identity politics, and whether people should focus more on what they're doing now rather than who their ancestors were. At the end of the day, history is messy, it's uncomfortable, and no one comes out of it completely clean. But pretending your family's past doesn't matter, especially when you've built your career on holding others accountable for theirs, isn't the way to handle it. Sunny could have used this moment to start a meaningful conversation about the complexity of history and activism. Instead, she shrugged and moved on, leaving everyone else to dissect the fallout. If there's one thing the internet loves, it's irony. And Sunny's story delivered it in spades. Social media had a field day, with reactions ranging from sarcastic humor to serious critiques. Some defended her, saying she shouldn't be judged for the actions of her ancestors. But others pointed out the glaring hypocrisy. "It's not about blaming her for her family's past," one commenter wrote. "It's about her double standards." Another viral meme showed Sunny's face with the caption, "Reparations, let me Venmo myself real quick." The internet wasn't just poking fun, it was holding her to the same standard she's demanded of others. Critics didn't stop at Sunny, though. Many used this moment to question the broader movement she represents. Greg Gutfeld, never one to hold back, took the opportunity to call out identity politics, arguing that reducing people to their racial or ancestral histories is bound to backfire eventually. And in this case, it backfired spectacularly. Even some of Sunny's fans admitted she could have handled the moment better. A little humility might have gone a long way, but instead, her casual dismissal left the door wide open for critics to pile on. The lesson here? If you're going to preach from the moral high ground, you'd better make sure it's not built on shaky foundations. Sunny's story isn't just a PR disaster. It's a reminder that nobody's history is perfect, and approaching these conversations with a bit more grace might not be such a bad idea. So, what's next for Sunny Hostin? Will this revelation be a wake-up call, pushing her to approach discussions about history and accountability with more humility? Or will she continue to double down, brushing off the irony as just another fact of life? Only time will tell. One thing's for sure, though, this story has sparked a conversation that's far from over. From social media to talk shows, the fallout is everywhere, and the scrutiny on Sunny isn't fading anytime soon. This moment could have been a turning point, a chance to show vulnerability, acknowledge the complexity of history, and prove that growth is possible, even for someone as outspoken as Sunny. But instead, it's become a cautionary tale. If you're going to judge others for their pasts, you'd better be prepared to face your own skeletons. Because, as Sunny just learned the hard way, the internet doesn't miss a thing. If you found this story as fascinating or ironic, as we did, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe. There's plenty more to unpack in the world of celebrity drama and unexpected twists, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.